go through the process of animating in this scene. Oh my goodness, we're about to hurt my computer very hard. Now this part is going to be very heavily dependent on Trafficker because that's where we're going to get all our cars from. Two things we've got to do. We have to have a road as its own mesh. Now, for the reason for that is because the cars need to drive on something. And if I have this on top, that means that the car's going to be driving on the roof. We don't want that. So the way we've set up previously, if I come over into Materials tab, let's deselect everything, and I've got asphalt. I'm going to go select. We can see that we've got our asphalt. Shift D to duplicate and right click to put that back in place. Let's go P, separate by selection. There we go. And now we've got our own little road. Now I want to select my road just by itself, and I will rename it to road to make my life easier. Tab into edit mode, and all I'm going to do is just move it down ever so slightly. We're just going to move it down ever so slightly, and don't worry that it's kind of above here. That's because of the NURBS curve. So let's go tab into edit mode, and you can see that it is below the surface now. Excellent. From here, let's go ahead and add a car. So over in Polygon, let's go spawn an asset. I want some bum cars first. I'm not going to go with a fast car straight away. Contemporary. Screw you, Tesla. Let's go into a Mazda 3. Why not? Light support. Yes. Use Trafficker something. Yes. Make editable. Yes. Okay. From here, we've got our car selected. I am going to set on the high beams straight away. Let's come down to the bottom. The ground. Oops. We will make the road. The NURBS curve, we'll make NURBS curve. From here, I'm going to click follow path. Now, because it is a tunnel, for some reason, the car just has like a massive hissy fit. I don't know why. I think that's a Marco problem. I've done something wrong. If we have the car selected, period key on the numpad will auto zoom in. Let's go into the pose mode, and with the bottom there, I'm just going to go Alt R to oops. I'm going to go rotate Y 90 degrees. Oops, do Y again. Minus. Sure. On top, please. And then we now have the car that'll follow the correct path. So obviously it only goes 250 frames. Nope, it goes all the way through. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the speed, and I'm going to make this car go about 80 k's an hour. Let's go OK. And bake car steering. Yes, OK. And I'm going to go OK again. Stuffed up a little bit, but we will talk about that in a sec. Now, if I press play, the car's going to start off slow, and then it's going to accelerate up to 80, and then it's just going to drive through the tunnel. Cool beans. All right, that's fun. That's fun. Sweet. What I want to do now is I'm going to go change speeds. Actually, no, we can leave it. Oh, geez, stop. Go back. We can leave this one as is. I'm going to spawn another car now. We might just move them forward a little bit just to get that car out of the way. Let's now go spawn asset. I want to add in Hyundai. Heck yeah, let's go OK on that one. We're going to follow path. Yes, please. OK, OK. Change speed. This guy's going to be doing 84. Okay. And I've already stuffed that up. So let's do that again. And also, I'm going to rotate the car again. So let's just select the car. Let's go into pose mode. Rotate YY 90 minus. Let's bring him back to the start. Period key. What I will do straight off the bat is I'm just going to move it to the side. From here as well, I'm going to go back into object mode, change speed. I want him to wait probably about 200 frames. And then we're going to press OK, OK, and OK. Now what's going to happen is that one's going to drive off, this one's going to drive off, and they're going to follow the path. So I'm going to spawn a few more cars just to kind of like fill up the road. Now, as you can see, we've got a variety of cars. If I just press play over the course of the next 500 frames, all right, let's hurry this up. You can see all the cars are going to be kind of moving off. Awesome. But we want car, if you know what I mean. I don't know what that was. Because we know how these cars are moving, we can kind of animate along those lines. So for instance, now let's go spawn an asset. I want a sports car, Lamborghini Hurricane. Yes, please. Color, no, I want green. No, green. Green. From here, we're gonna go follow path. Yes, please. Okay. Let's just period key on that. Let's zoom in. Go into pose mode, select that, rotate Y 90 degrees. Nice. From here, we're gonna go into change speed. This car's gonna be doing like 160 kilometers an hour at frame 700, because the last car leaves at 500. And so the plan will be, we're gonna have this car zoom past this chap. You know what? We actually might even make this car go faster. I think maybe he's even starting a little bit too late. That's fine. Let's redo that. Change speed. 160 frame 600. Okay. Yes, please. Sure thing, mate. And let's go like so. We can see that obviously at this point here, he kind of goes through there. So let's zoom in on the car. And from here, I'm just going to go into pose mode. I'm not sure if I manually move the car over that it's going to set up the steering wheel. So that's something we'll test out, because I actually haven't done this before. So I'm going to press I to do a, let's do location, rotation, and scale. I will press the record button. And then hopefully, like at this point here, we can zoom in a little bit. G, Y, Y, X, X. It's moved over to there. And so, I think that might have been a little bit harsh there. So I actually am going to undo all that, undo that, undo that. I don't want a keyframe for that. So I'm just going to select that, make sure we delete that keyframe. And let's kind of shoot back to here. So I reckon maybe about here. This is where he can start moving along. About there, GXX. No, same problem. So probably about here. Let's go GXX. And then he's going to come actually super close. It's going to be a jerk. Into that lane there. And then from here, so the alternative is we could have edited the NURBS curve itself. But I'm just going to do it like this. Let's do I from here. And then at this point here, he's actually just going to be a jerk, and he's going to cut across all the lanes of traffic. And so what we should do is almost have a straight line in there-ish. Kinda. I'm not sure about that. And then how much, I don't know how much time we've got left. He's zooming past everyone. We don't really have any other cars in front of us. And that's the end of our kind of short drive. Oh man, I'm so sorry, computer, for what's about to happen to you. Now the thing is we want a bit of a street race, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm gonna go into object mode. I'm gonna go spawn an asset, and we want something nice. I am thinking the Nissan GTR, but the McLaren's gorgeous. Maybe we'll do 3. Nissan GTR. Let's go OK. We are going to bake. Make sure we turn on the high beams, please. Let's click on that follow path. Yes. Shut your pie hole. Yes. Shut your pie hole. Yes. Rather aggressive towards this. Rotate X, Y, because I keep pressing the wrong button. Okay, so from here, when does the Lambo go? I think we said frame 600. Only goes 610 is when this car's going to go. Change speed. Frame 610. And I'm going to make him go 162. So he's going to go that little bit faster than the Lambo. and they're right on each other's tails, which is fine. Okay, what are we doing here? What? Oh, yeah. Okay, so, whoops. What we are going to do is from here, we can see that this car is already moving. So I'm going to press I, location, rotation, and scale. And then at this point-ish, he's actually going to be moving, whoops, G, Y, Y, X, X. Oops, I'm in the wrong thing, idiot. Let's make sure we've got that selected. So let's come back to here where we were. I, rotation, location, and scale. I was in object mode rather than the armature. And we're going to go like this. And then from here, he's actually going to be a jerk. And then he's going to try and sneak through there. Will it work? Doesn't really work, does it? We could probably move this one, this keyframe. We could probably move it back a smidgen. All right, yeah, kill someone, no worries. Let him be a real big jerk. And then maybe this one here, we could probably extend it a little bit. Just make that a little bit smoother. He's lost his ground a little bit. And then through the middle. And then maybe at this point in here, I'm going to go I, rotation, location, scale. And then here, G, X, X. So the steering we're probably going to have to update manually. And that is because the steering wheel is connected to the NURBS curve. So you know what I'm thinking is this last shot before it ends. I reckon we might just do this. And then about there, I'm just going to make him like just peek out a little bit. And then he can move back in. Now, let's go ahead and set up some cameras. I don't know what that's going to look like. Now, firstly, I have an idea. Where is my first car? Volkswagen Beetle. Guess what? You get the first camera. Because the Skyline drives past him first. So we're going to go Shift A camera. I'm going to come over here onto the right hand side, constraints, add object constraint child of, and I'm going to select the armature. The bone is going to be the root. And let's go GZ, control numpad 0, so we zoom in on the camera. Let's rotate that around by 180 degrees. And we all love a nice Volkswagen Beetle. One of my dream cars, one day. Do we do like GoPro mode? That, you know what? That kind of looks cool. So if we do something like that, now let's, we'll talk about the render settings a little bit in a sec, but for now I'm just going to press F12 and render that. I did a test render before. Really be nice to have some sort of like greenery up here or something. Car is dirty. Oh my goodness, that looks gorgeous. Cool, let's go with that. So from about here, and then I'm going to press M to set in a marker. Let's now shift right click on that. Shift A, add in a camera, control numpad 0. There we go. This one here is going to go into child of, and I want it to be the child of this armature. Now we haven't added any rotation to the camera. Let's go Alt R, Alt G. Where's the camera? GZ. Can we see it? Rotate X 90 degrees. Now this is one of my concerns, is that we don't have anyone in the car driving. So I don't know if we're going to pick that up. So let's do a test render on that. Oh, goodness, this is so good. Now to bind a camera to a marker, you got to go into the timeline, Control B, and you can see now that that is camera 2. Now the problem is I didn't bind the other camera. So if I come back here, I'm just going to press M back here, Control B to bind that camera. So I reckon we actually bring this camera back. Oh, that's sick. And so now that we're here, I reckon we go ahead and create another camera. So for this one here, let's do camera GZ. I am going to bring back our tunnel. So let's go to there. Let's go M, Control B to bind the camera to there. So I'm going to show my tunnel because I want to almost, as if it's like security cameras. And so we're going to have something like this. Shift D, rotate, Control numpad 0. We'll go M, Control B to bevel, to bind the camera. Wow. That alone looks amazing. Not sure about that. Yeah, don't like that at all. So I think we might actually come in and play with this. And so for instance, like at this point here, I'm going to press I on this top bit here. Oops. So on this top bit, we can kind of go G and I can actually, whoops, I can go G and then we can kind of actually move the car around. So I will press I on that. And then let's go forward a few frames as it's moving. And I'm actually gonna, so that it kind of, and then probably at this, maybe at this frame here, let's kind of shift the weight. I'm not a fan of that. I think it's just because I didn't leave myself a lot of room. So it's like, I think what the problem is it's a linear transition. It's not a Bezier transition. So if we go into animation, come up to the top here, we'll change this to graph editor. Am I wrong? I think I might be wrong. Yay for Marco. Route transformation, X location, Y location. Let's hide everything. This one here. It's just more that it's kind of, yeah, super sharp. Why is that there? So I think, that suspension. Well, what if I delete all this? What's going to happen? Does that mean it just drives through the car? Okay, so at this point here, what if I delete this? What's going to happen? I mean, this bit here looks real nice. So I think I've moved it a bit too late. Let's kind of go a bit earlier. Yes, look at that. Ooh. Oh. How good does that look? Hold on, OG. And then so it's going to come in. Oh my goodness, that looks sick. Wow. I think for now, I'm going to keep it as is. And then I'm going to render out the animation a little bit later. But you can kind of see all the little properties. And it's more I wanted to show you what the Trafficker add-on looks like. I'm gonna hit render. I want to know what this looks like now. Future Marco here. It looks like rubbish. It just looks like rubbish. Now there's been quite a few changes since I rendered that one, that dumpster fire. But let's kind of step backwards and talk about the render settings. So in the render settings up here, I did lower the light paths and the max bounces. The other thing that I did as well is enabled motion blur down there in the bottom right. One of the big problems is when I'm rendering, I've got a lot of fireflies. That's a problem. And so that's why it's looking really choppy. So what I ended up doing it manually is adding a couple of hundred area lights. So if we select all my area lights, we can see that where those lamps are on the roof, I've now got lights in there. Now they're white lights. So if we go into rendered view, they're not actually blue. You can see how bright they are. And so what I did is I fixed that up. I also added in lights to the front of the cars. So these are just kind of like little cone lights. And so you can see everything's a lot brighter and it's even got a bit of a greeny tinge. Now, the other thing that I did is if we watch the second render, we can see that it's super choppy going around this back corner. I don't know where's the back corner. Oh. So going around this back corner, it was super choppy, but you can see how smooth it is. If we go into the Bezier curve and then we select the Bezier options, I bumped up this resolution to 56 because you have to remember that if I go into edit mode on the Bezier curve, this whole section here is only 12 points by default. So now that I've bumped it up to 56, we can get a nicer curve through the curves, funnily enough. And then yeah, found some sound effects, slapped them on, wham bam, thank you ma'am, hey subscribe.